best advice I can give to a coach who's supporting a student who's out of the game is continue to keep that player involved in all the meetings, practices on the side. Have that player start coaching his players in his position and start to help the guys out. I think the more you can utilize the players who are out, how can you utilize them to help their peers, help their teammates? I think that goes a long way with keeping that player engaged and keeping them involved in the process, because being injured is a lonely road, and if you can help guys who, are still playing, players respect that a ton.
Coach, how do you value rush versus run stopping for interior defenders in terms of what you need right now, stopping the run versus disrupting and getting up into the pocket? How do you value that?
Yeah, there's a healthy balance, right? You have to be able to do both, right? So I like guys who are very multi-dimensional, right? You want guys who can stop the run but also have enough athletic ability to get on the edge and also win versus their one-on-one pass rush attempts. So different guys, we like to roll our guys, so we're not beholden to just having 4 guys out there at one time. I like to roll guys 8 deep, and all those guys have varying traits that can allow us to, be multiple in how we're deploying guys, whether it's a rush attack, pass attack. Like, guys have to be able to do both. Hey, Matt, thanks for the question. The biggest value I get from being here is just being able to sit down across from the players face to face, be able to hear their story, hear their background, their upbringing, but also just get to feel their energy and feel their passion and love for the game of football. It comes off in those 15-minute interviews, and I can feel that energy very instantly.
DeMeco, if you could roll back to last year and look at, the franchise wasn't good. You needed to decide, okay, am I going to get that quarterback and build around him, or we're going to build a team and then drop the quarterback in? How did you sort through that process, relying on CJ being the guy that he's going to be the one that you're going to build around?
For me, taking over this franchise, I know, right, every team that's here, right, if you want to win games and you want to be if you want to have a run deep in the playoffs, you have to have a quarterback to do that, right? And that was the main focus for us, so it was easy in the evaluation process of getting CJ, just seeing his talent, seeing the type of guy that he was, like ultimate competitor, true leader. His teammates loved him. Like he cared about his teammates, and that's what stuck out for me, is the type, not only getting a quarterback, but getting a guy who the locker room can get behind, guys that they feel his passion, they feel his love for the game. He's competitive. He has the leadership and drive to be great, and that's what led us to getting CJ, and CJ's done an outstanding job for us these past 2 years.
Coach, year one, you got CJ, you got Will, but year 2, you were able to get players like Kamari Lassiter and Kalen Bullock. What went into some of the decisions to be able to grab players like that, maybe players that wasn't on everybody?
Going back and thinking about Kamari and Kalen, when I think about both of those guys, what stuck out to me about Kamari was what his teammates said about him last year, this being here at the Combine. Like his attention to detail, his intensity in walkthroughs, just his mindset and how he loves football, that stood out to me. And that definitely came true throughout the season, watching Kamari play, watching how physical he was, watching the plays he made, watching how locked in he was each and every snap. Kamari felt like a pro the day he stepped into our building, and he's been a true pro all throughout his first year, still with a lot of improvements ahead of him, but love picking him up, and he's been a great addition to our team. The thing that stood out to me about Kalen in last year's draft was just his ability to track the football. Right, watching his college tape at USC, there wasn't another player who had the ball skills that Kalen had, and that showed true coming through this past season. Like watching him make the plays he made for us in the back end, like he had about, I think, at least 5 interceptions and probably dropped about 3 that he wish he had back. But both 2 young, talented guys who we saw their traits, we saw the role and where they can fit for our team, and so it's easy making those selections.
What is a meeting with the Texans like during this process? What are the main things you look for when you're talking to them?
Yeah, a meeting with the Texans here at the Combine, we hope it comes off as very loose. We want to make sure we're not trying to grill guys too much. I want to make them at ease, because I remember being here at the Combine where I had some of those meetings where they were very tense. And so I just want to make sure guys are at ease and they're comfortable, and we just get to know the person. That's the main thing. We get a chance to watch as much tape as we can on these guys, but to really just sit down, helmet off, and let's know your background. Let's know why do you love the game of football, and what's your why. Those are the things that we ask our guys, and we have to get a lot of insightful comments from guys from asking those questions. Receivers under 170 pounds just need to be fast. So a guy like myself can't hit you. But speed is the redeeming quality. I think for smaller receivers, you're having that speed, the quickness, especially those guys who are in that slot receiver position, like them being matched up on a lesser cover player, the nickel position, right? They can really make a ton of plays in the game just by utilizing their quickness.
Can you provide any sort of injury update on Tank?
Yeah, Tank he's still going along through the process of recovering and healing, but he's in great spirits. That's the main thing about Tank, right? He's got a smile on his face while he's going through the rehab process, so he's headed there. In due time, he'll be back.
What is year 3 like in this process with
Year 3 for myself and Nick working together, and it's been seamless. It's easy because we see football the same. We know the type of players that we want on our team. We know that mindset that we're looking for in players. It's guys who have that relentless mindset, guys who love football. Those guys jump out to us, right? Guys who are leaders, that jumps out to us. Those characteristics that they don't lose those when they come into the NFL. If guys were leaders at college, guys play with a certain play style and a demeanor in college, that's going to carry over to the NFL. So those are the type of players we look for, and we want good people. All right, and that's the thing that me and Nick agree on the most. You want to win, but you want to win with great people. And we both believe that you can do that, and we've shown that by some of the guys we drafted in CJ, Will, Kamari, Henry. It's just a lot of great people, and it's fun when you're working with great people who are talented and they're like-minded, and we're all reaching that same goal.
So when there's a discussion about a particular play, as I think the TUSH push or brotherly shove, whatever they want to call it, QB sneak is going to be a discussion point this offseason. Do you have strong feelings one way or the other on how the NFL should maybe legislate or stay out of that conversation?
When it comes to that, QB sneak play, I think each team is different. When they had Jason Kelce, a old teammate of mine, he was really good at executing that play. And other teams have tried it. Some teams have stopped it. So, we'll see how those discussions go over the next couple months. But for me, either way, when you executing a play, it's just difficult to stop. You keep running that play, and the Eagles benefited from it, and they've done an outstanding job. Yeah, Jimmy's doing good along the rehab process. Definitely be important to get Jimmy back. Just going back and watching the season and seeing some of the plays that Jimmy made. He's a great leader. He's a playmaker when he's out on the field. He just has to stay healthy and be out there longer for us to impact the game the way that we know Jimmy can impact the game. I think there are a lot of different reasons for why teams were excelled in the run game, starting off with some really good backs who are getting the football. I just think instantly of Saquon and just his season that he's had, Derrick Henry. I mean, you had a lot of good backs and a lot of guys. They're tough to tackle, right? So tackling, I think, is one thing. Is it necessarily guys getting lighter? I don't think that's the case. I think it comes back down to the fundamentals of stopping the run, right? You got to play good up front, you got to play stout up front, and you got to tackle well on the second level when it comes to the running game.
For a lot of years, players have opted out of bowl games, and it's not really held against them anymore. But some are opting out of games in the regular season to get ready for the draft process, or even in halftime of a bowl game. How do you feel about that? How do you evaluate that?
Each player has his right to opt out or do whatever he wants to do. Like, we'll evaluate the full process. Like, I don't think it comes down to one particular game when we're evaluating guys here at the Combine. Our scouts, they've been watching these guys since they were freshmen. So we have a lot of history with these guys, not just on one decision of a guy opting out.
Oh, the new offensive coordinator, like Nick Kelce, how much is he involved as far as with the interview process, the guys combine,
With our new offensive coordinator, Nick Kelce, he's in looking at the interviews. So he's just back, just watching it. He's not here at the Combine, but he's watching. We have him on Zoom, so he's able to watch those.
Is there any continue to build out the roster? How imperative is it for you guys to get better protection for CJ?
Yeah, getting better protection for CJ is definitely a main point of emphasis for us. Right? We know, when CJ is protected, he has a clean pocket. Right? He's a pretty good quarterback, and I constantly show guys clips in our meeting after a game of plays when we protect well and we have a good pocket. I'll show guys explosive, outstanding throws CJ is able to make in the middle of the field, along the sideline. Like, he's capable of making any throw on the football field, but it's just a matter of protecting him and giving him that comfort when he's in the pocket. When we do that, we can move the ball, we can make plays. So that is a point of emphasis for us of making sure he is protected better.
As a defensive-minded coach, when you see a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, an explosive running back, that becomes a trend, finding guys like that out of the backfield to mismatch. What do you do to counter that when it comes from a personnel standpoint?
We'd love to have Jahmyr Gibbs in that speed. Can we get a Jahmyr Gibbs? No, he's
Defensively, do you look for a certain type of linebacker, anticipating that the game's going to change a little bit?
No, I don't look for a particular type of linebacker. I'm not thinking about one player, but you want guys who definitely have the athletic capabilities to be able to, first and foremost, keep up with a guy like Jamar, which there are not many. So then you go to schematically, how can you collectively with all 11 kind of minimize, Jamar's explosive capabilities?
When you're evaluating these players, is there a way you can tell the difference between a day one starter and maybe a role player who have a long career?
Players come in all different types and sizes, but I think when you look at a guy, you're taking a guy in that first round, you're looking at guys who you're leaning on being, day one starters for you. And, second round on through, you're looking for guys who can possibly upgrade the roster to eventually become starters. But, you want to see a guy and what he's done in college, how many snaps he's played, how effective has he been with the reps that he's been given.
Coach, with the change of O-line coach and coordinator, is there any chance you look for different traits or different play features from your offensive line this year when you scout them?
No, when I look at offensive linemen, first and foremost, I'm looking at, pass protection. Like, how good is the guy in pass protection? And then, for everyone, for me speaking, offensive linemen, I want to see that grit. I want to see that toughness, right, that nastiness of how guys are finishing their blocks, right, what type of leaders these guys are, how passionate they are about football. That's very important to me when it comes to the offensive linemen. All right, thank you guys.